So it's good, people. Normally, right about now, I'd be filming a show with Stub, Big Black and Unsuccessful. But today, I wanted to come to y'all and actually just speak on the different things that's going on right now in the world. Uh, I speak up. I use my voice through social media, but I haven't turned on my cameras and used my voice in any way, shape, or form in regards to a lot of the stuff that's been going on. Uh, you know, the killing of unarmed black men, women, all black people. You know what I'm saying? The degrees of separation that they're trying to do to black people to get us to just fall back in line and, do the status quo, which is, make noise for a week and then die down. And just the constant, you know what I'm saying, killing of our people. It's almost like it kind of comes off like, you know what I'm saying, it's finally my opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like I stopped this guy and, he moved his arm a certain way and it's finally my opportunity. Like I heard about this big fish and now I finally get the opportunity to capture this big fish. I don't know if you know what I'm saying, y'all getting that analogy, but that's the way it come off. You ever seen these white people that go on safaris and kill like a lion, or these white people that go fishing and all people go fishing, but a lot of times you'll see these guys, these fishermen, and they go fishing and they get like this big old, you know what I'm saying, like big fish and they got it hanging. It's like that. I don't really get it. You know what I'm saying? I really don't get the logic of open season on people. And that's what it seems to be. It seems to be open season on people, black people. And I know like a lot of people gonna say, well, they kill white people and they do this too, and these type of people, and yeah, but they go to jail. I remember one time I seen I think it was a lady. She was under arrest, she was handcuffed, she was in the police car. And then next thing you know, she was driving the police car. And then they chased her and the police car flipped over and she was in the police car going for the shotgun. And they were just like, she's going for the gun. And they're, going crazy trying to get into the vehicle to get that person. But that person lived. I remember seeing a white guy was in the middle of a field, I believe it was in Florida, and police had a perimeter around him. And he had a gun. And he was pointing the gun and he was holding the gun and he was pointing the gun. But he lived. I remember seeing right down the street from me, Dylan Roof, went into a church, killed 9 people, flee. They knew he was armed. They knew he was dangerous. They captured him, took him to Burger King. He was there to go to trial. So many countless, goddamn, the Boston bomber. You know what I'm saying? Like, so many people committed so many atrocities towards people. They're criminals, killers that walked free and was fine. And we could say, well, uh, make up plenty of reasons other than the one reason that is the most important. These people that's getting killed are black. Yeah, black. That's the only reason why these people don't make it home from allegedly selling CDs, allegedly selling Lucy cigarettes, allegedly passing off a forged $20 bill or forged check or whatever they want to call it, getting stopped for, not using a turn signal or a tail light, getting stopped and then running from the officer. Any of these things that people that's not black get a ticket or arrested for, we get a life sentence or we get sentenced to death. And this done been said many times by many different people, so don't get it twisted. I'm not sitting here thinking that I'm about to change the world with my opinion and my thought process and me speaking out is going to make so much of a difference. But here's the thing. Maybe my perspective would make a difference. And let's say I didn't say anything and it could make a difference. That would be a problem to me. So to the one or two people that might pay me any attention or pay me any mind, this is for you. Imagine you had a coworker that spoke to you every day. How you doing, ma'am? How you doing, sir? Very nice person. Helped you when you needed help. They see you in need, they help you out, regardless of what they got going on at the job. And they just so happen to be black. And then imagine seeing that person get killed on the way from the job. The same day they helped you like they normally do. You went home, they went home, but they got killed for a pointless reason. I would like to think that you would, feel some type of way because it would hit home. And I want all people to start thinking about it and thinking about situations that happen in life that way. Imagine it was the person that you was cool with, they was cool with you, they showed you nothing but love. And imagine that person not being here for something as stupid as Lucy cigarettes. I don't know, like it seems like it's a fight to say that it's a fight to stay wrong. We the Confederate, we lost, you know what I'm saying? So we want to keep y'all in y'all place. So the way we gonna keep y'all in y'all place is we gonna put up these statues everywhere of all these loser ass generals, and we gonna name all of these forts after all of these loser ass generals who lost the war to try to keep you slaves, just to show you that we have the power still. Oh, you know what I'm saying? All you got to do is work hard in America. And if you work hard and pull yourself up by your bootstraps, you'll be just fine. Meanwhile, people go fight in the world wars. They promise certain things. People fought, you know what I'm saying, in the Civil War. They would promise certain things. Those things they were promised never came to light. So if you was promised certain things and you went out there and you made certain sacrifices and your family made sacrifices, your sons made sacrifices, your daughters made sacrifices, your mothers, you know what I'm saying, you, yourself, and y'all sacrificed all of these things, hoping that the country you live in will stand by their promise, and then they don't. They actually double down and do the very thing that's different. They decide not to do anything for you and everything for the other people. But then now the other people say, hey, you got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps. So even though y'all didn't do what y'all promised in the Civil War, even though y'all didn't do what y'all promised in the World Wars, even though y'all didn't do what y'all promised, we still pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, still manage to become successful people, still manage to become people that live in suburban neighborhoods and move next to you, whether you want them to move next to you or not, still get educated, still have black women with the biggest education, growing in education, growing in corporate America, growing in voting, growing in everything. But without you fulfilling your promise, we pulled ourselves up by our bootstraps and still made it happen without you. And now y'all trying to, on a bigger scale, do us like y'all did with Black Wall Street. So it's like, I don't know, I don't get that level of savagery, if that makes sense, because it is savagery. I don't get that understanding of what y'all trying to accomplish. And I do say y'all because it takes a people. Like racism is a system. And I was arguing with not arguing, but a girl was arguing, and I was just stating my point about racism. And she was saying, racism, it's racism, systematic racism, institutional racism. And I said, well, it's racism. Racism is systematic. How did you learn racism in order for it to be individual? You learned it from a system. It was a system. It was something that was taught to your parents, then taught to your parents, then taught to your parents, and then taught to you. That's systematic. They show all of the quotes all the time. They show all of the white kids and the black kids hanging out together, and they're like, you know what I'm saying? Racism is taught. Of course it's taught. It's a system. How do you learn any system? How do you learn a PS4? How do you learn an Xbox? You're taught the system. It's a system. So don't say, we're trying to end systematic racism, but we're not trying to end racism. Nah, you're trying to end racism. And racism is a tool used by white supremacy to rule the world. So you have to end racism in order to end white supremacy. So you could be prejudiced, you could dislike all the black people you want. But James Baldwin said, y'all needed the nigga. So now you got to ask yourself, why did you need the nigga? Why do you still need the nigga? Is it an insecurity? Definitely. Did you just need a villain? Did you need somebody to make your small mind feel bigger? Because I'm pretty sure it backfired. Because you came to realize no matter how much you tried to hold us back, we still here, still growing, still getting bigger, still doing what we was born to do. Why? Because losers always going to be losers and winners always going to win. Anyway, people, I don't know what this is. I don't know what it's going to be. But I had to give y'all my word. I had to speak. I had to actually say something. And I hope that a racist will change their mind. And if you won't change your mind, at least come out right and say who you are, so that way we don't have you in our institutions. So that way you can't affect our children. That way you can't teach your poison to other people's children or inflict your poison on other people's children. PDCO, we'll talk again. Peace.